As you know, DCAM has switched to electronic reporting for their workforce and payroll compliance. So they are using what they call a contractor management system, and that is now their platform for all MBE, WBE contract and certified payroll/workforce compliance reporting as of July 1st. The agency did transition to this system for both DCAM and DCAM-assisted construction and design contracts. So prime contractors, consultants, and subcontractors are going to be responsible to learn how to self-report their participation in this system. I'm going to walk you through how to do the consultant workforce reporting, and we'll hold any questions until the end. So thank you. Once DCAM has entered you into the system, you will get an automatic email from LCP Tracker that will have a link and ask you to log in. That login will take you to this screen that you see currently. I'm going to use my login here to log into the system. I, of course, am using a test account, but this is what you will see. Once you're logged into the system, this is what we call our home page. As you can see, there is a notice letting you know that LCP Tracker, the system that this reporting is going to be done in, is going to be closed on Thursday and Friday in observance of Thanksgiving. This is the area where any kind of communication from the payroll system is located. Once you have read that, just click on OK. Otherwise, when you first log in here to this home page, you'll see a list of any and all projects that you have been assigned to. If you do not see the project in this list that you've been assigned to, you will, of course, need to contact your appropriate compliance officer at DCAM. Several different things I want to point out before I go into showing you how to get your setup done to be able to turn in your workforce reporting. If you have any particular questions, there are multiple avenues available to you. The first thing you can do is click on this training materials button here up top. That will take you to an additional screen that has an online filing system with a plethora of different documentation, training manuals, etc. The second thing you can do is you can click on the support button. This again will take you to another screen and gives you multiple ways to contact LCP Tracker. You can contact our support department by email or by phone. There is somebody in the office to take your call Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Last but certainly not least, we have a live chat function. You may click on this button and reach a person, again, from 5 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, let's dive into what we need to do to get you set up. I should mention real quick, though, that DCAM will complete your contract setup once again in the contract management portion of the system, which is called BDG Now. You will get that email automatically from the system. Once that contract is linked to the payroll system, then your workforce reporting can begin. Training and support are offered by both of those system vendors that I have mentioned. However, there is also a user guide, and this webinar will be recorded and on DCAM's website available to you. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has diverse workforce participation goals on their public projects of 15.3% for minorities and 6.9% for women, respectively. This system was designed for reporting contractor trade labor via weekly certified payroll reports. However, because of DCAM's reporting requirements of the consultant's workforce, we've actually customized the system to accommodate this type of reporting as well. Only demographic data is required for designer workforce reporting. Wage information will not be required. There will be 4 main areas of setup and entry that you will need to do, and we are going to walk through all of those. The very first thing that you'll need to do once you've received that email and logged into LCP Tracker is click on the Setup tab. From there, you are going to need to set yourself up what we call an e-signature. The e-signature is extremely, extremely important because this is your keys to the kingdom, as I like to call it. So once you come in here, set yourself up a password, and this is strictly yours. I highly recommend that nobody share passwords. I always like to say that I'm not going to give you my checkbook, so I'm not going to give you the keys to my kingdom either. That password can be exactly the same as your login to LCP Tracker. It is completely up to you. The reason you need that, however, is to be able to submit this workforce report as required. All right, so once you have done that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add your employees. Simply click on that Add Edit Employee button, and it's going to take you to a screen that looks exactly like this. So we're actually going to walk through this process. So I am going to enter my first employee. I'm sure I'm going to use some information that looks familiar to you and some that's made up. All right. In the system, of course, we don't need to require a Social Security number. You may leave exemptions at 0. Please choose ethnicity. That is required. You are able to skip down then here to gender. And last but not least for this area, you do need to check the button here to verify or certify whether or not your employee has completed an I-9. That is something that should be checked. Obviously, at this point in the game, that employee should have been I-9 verified. All right, so this first section here is complete. If you'll notice that I filled in every single field that had a red asterisk. If you see that here, or actually anywhere else in the system, it's mandatory. So you will not be able to save your record unless the section with that information has been filled in. Okay, next section that we need to do, demographic classifications. This is really important here, so this is a step you want to be sure that you don't skip. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click that Add Classification button. As you can see, a separate screen pops up here. We're now going to click on the demographic type, and we're going to click the very first one, which is OSHA 10 certification. You will be able to click on this drop-down list of yes or no. In this case, I'm going to say that my employee is not OSHA certified, which probably is not what needs to happen. I believe everybody needs to be OSHA certified. Yeah, so let's change that to yes. It is requiring a start date because, of course, your OSHA certification can expire. I am just going to put some very standard dates in there. Once I click that Done button, you see how this is now popped up right here. You're not quite done yet. You need to click Add Classification one more time. We have one more classification that we need to enter, and this one is going to be Veteran Status. Once we click this demographic classification drop-down yet again, now you can choose whether your employee is a veteran, a service-disabled veteran, or not a veteran. From there, you can click Done again, and now you see here in this section, you have two different types of demographic classifications that have popped up. All right, that is the only information that you will need to add for an employee. All of these other sections you don't need to worry about. So from here, we're going to click Save. As you can see, the system liked and said that we entered everything correctly, so it says saved. So we're going to leave that be. If you had more employees, you could simply click Reset and enter another one. Or if, like myself, we don't have any more, we can click Cancel and get out of the system there. Okay, now you have added your employees. We've talked about your e-signature. The next step in your process is going to be moving over to e-documents. Click on the e-documents tab, and you are going to have to follow this process. The system is, again, as I mentioned earlier, is set up for standard certified payroll requirements. However, as obviously a consultant and doing workforce reporting, you're not truly turning in a certified payroll. However, because of the way the OSHA 10 requirement is and the need to turn in an OSHA 10 card for every employee who performs a trade classification, what we've done is a modification in the system. You will need to follow this step. Click on the Download Document Templates. And keep in mind that this, again, is noted in the guide that DCAM has provided for you. You are going to click on the document here that says Consultant Required Document Template OSHA. As you see on the bottom, pops up a little screen. Click on Open. Click on Allow. And from there, there's an actual Word document that pops up in a second screen. I'm going to pull that over so you can see it. And what we're going to do now is we're going to save it to our desktop, because what you're going to do is you are actually going to save it in the system. All right, we have our document saved. So you can see it says, hey, this is a consultant employee. It's a required document for OSHA 10, not applicable. All right, so now we're going to click back on the eDocuments tab, and you are going to actually upload that document. Click on Upload Documents. I'm going to select my project from the drop-down list. I'm going to select OSHA 10 as my document type. I'm going to use today's date for my document type, and I'm going to put in a description here of OSHA 10 and my employee's name. I can additionally pick that employee from the drop-down list, and now I'm going to browse my computer, find my form, and forgive me, because of course it's early, haven't had quite enough coffee yet. There we go. Got my form, and now you'll notice, of course, this is where we need that e-signature. I didn't actually set up an e-signature, so I'm not going to save this document. In order to turn in a report and to save something to e-documents, you will need that e-signature. Once you've entered that there, you would click Save. The document now becomes part of what we call an online filing cabinet, and DCAM on their end will be able to click under View Documents, come in here and find any and all documents that are applicable to your particular company. All right. The next thing that I need to talk to you about is how to define a work order. If it happens that you need to set up a particular work order for the contract that you are associated with, you would then again click on this Setup tab, and you're going to click on Add Edit Work Order. So bundled contracts, also referred to as blanket/master agreements. So in other words, house doctors, small projects, etc. Those are going to require this task setup prior to submission of your first report. You can, again, refer to the training manual that is going to be under admin support documents, and this information will be in there specifically listed out for you. Even though I'm going to walk you through it, you know, like I said, you can still find this later. Again, as usual, the very first thing you're going to do is select your project. From there, you can add a work order ID. So in this case, I'm going to just call it 31B. I'm, of course, completely making this up as we go. That work order ID should be a DCAM task number or a DCAM project number. So I guess, let's see here, let's use what we have above. So I'll just call it that. The title would be the project name. So if we're following suit, then I'm going to say it is as you see above. Budget value is not required. So that's all you would need to do to put that in there. And then, of course, scrolling down here to click on Save. This then saves this work order ID in the system, and you're able to pick it from an additional drop-down pick list when you're entering your report. Again, this isn't for everybody, only if you need to have one of those. Okay, so now you are ready to get your workforce reporting report done. You have, again, entered your employees. You set up your e-signature. If you needed a work order, you did that. And you came into eDocument to set up those OSHA documents. Now you're actually going to enter in your information. So let's go to tab 1, Payroll Records. And again, keep in mind that I know it says Payroll Records, but for your purposes, it is Workforce Reporting. I do need to explain something to you as we come in here for the first time. You're going to click on Enter Records. You are going to, for your week end date, you're going to choose the last day of the month that you're reporting. Once again, choose your project, and in this case, your employee. Now, as you can see, I've never clearly used a classification in the system before for Ms. Ross. Otherwise, it would show up down here. Because of that, we're going to click on Add Classification, and we now have a list of crafts that pop up. So you may choose any one of these. I am going to say that Ms. Ross was a designer, and I'm going to click Add Selected. As you see, that now pops up the classification for this employee. I'm going to click on the Select button, and I'm going to hit Next. All right, so this is where the really interesting information happens. I would like to note that once again, we are using the system to accommodate your monthly reports. So instead of asking all the consultants to submit a report weekly, what we are doing is saying that you can turn up to 168 hours in on this report by simply using the hours worked each day down here appropriately. I'm going to, of course, show you how to do that, but I want to make sure you understand that you can enter in up to 168 hours. If you have more than 168 hours worked per employee, you would need to turn in a second report. All right, so we clicked on our Enter Records, we chose our week ending date, we grabbed our project, and we got a classification for our employee. So from here, there are going to be some very specific instructions on what you need to do. Very first box up here at the top, simply type in a 1. If you have an applicable work order, you are going to choose it. That would be the second thing. And now we're going to enter in those hours. So I'm going to say that this employee worked all available 168 hours, just so that you can see how we would enter those hours in. As you can see, the system totals up each column for you in row and gives you a grand total right there of 168. Please take that total hours that the system has added for you and enter it into the box here where it says total hours worked. All right, the very next thing you're going to do, you can skip this section here that says fringes. You're going to come down here to this paycheck information. Again, keeping in mind that we are not really entering paycheck information. So under this check gross pay, you're going to enter a 1. Under paycheck amount, you're going to enter a 1. And now under this check number right here, you are going to enter in the number of the report that you're turning in. If this is your 3rd month report, make that a 3. If it's your 1st month's report, make that a 1. All right, all of the information you needed to add is in there. Click on Save. If you have another employee that you need to add, you would click on Yes, and you can do so in the system. In this case, we're going to say, nope, we do not have another employee to add, and we are going to move right into sending in this report to DCAM. In order to do that, we're going to click on tab number 3, Certification. We are once again going to choose our project. We are going to leave this on Work Activity to report it for this week. And we're going to choose our week ending date. Keep in mind again that this should be the same date that you chose when you entered in those payroll records, which will be the last day of the month of the reporting period. In this case, our report number was going to be 3. I'm going to type in my name as the person who's going to be certifying this report. I'm going to put in my title, and I'm going to click the Next button. From there, the system is going to take me into what is considered a standard statement of compliance. Just a couple more steps here before you're done. You'll notice that there's an empty box here that asks you to state the number of apprentices identified on that document. You are going to enter in a 0 there. As you can see here, my name pops up, my title, and it says that I certify the information that I entered was true. Gives me the name of my company and then, of course, my project name. At this time, you would once again enter that e-signature that we set up and then click Save. At that point, what happens is the file actually gets transferred directly over then to DCAM, and they are able to collect it and do whatever compliance checks they need to from that point. Congratulations, you've now submitted your first report. Hopefully that was as easy as we all assume it can be. If you have any questions, I would highly recommend, of course, that you contact your compliance officer at DCAM. Again, you may also click in here under e-documents, download document templates, and there is a guide that they have been very kind to put in here for you. Consultant Workforce Reporting Guide. You can click on that, open up that document, and again, save it for future reference or print it out to walk you through the process. Thank you so much for your attendance, and I hope you have a great day.